appearing posh and a wise man. I don't know. For those people who would like Kagame to be their president, they can take him. But I do not think that Rwandans deserve to have a criminal for a president.
Yes. Well, and the world shows great, through the United Nations, they address this matter of heads of state who are assassinated. They anticipate that there will be proper investigations. You have two, in all my years of following this, I keep repeating over and over, two African presidents assassinated in one blow. And there has yet to be an adequate investigation, although Mr. Hurigan of the United Nations did do the preliminaries and the basis is there. But two African presidents, Africa itself needs to ask, why hasn't someone got to the bottom of this?
Yes, and I tell you, we shall leave no stone unturned. It doesn't matter how long it takes, but on this specific matter, as it was on the issue of genocide, and as it is on the issue of people who died in Rwanda because of Kagame, and people who died in Congo, but particularly on this high crime that was committed by Kagame, we shall leave no stone unturned until justice is done. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Mm-hmm. It might be in my generation, hopefully it will be, but we are going to make sure that Kagame pays for the sins he has committed.
Yeah. We're speaking to Dr. Rudasingwa. He is the former RPF Secretary General. He was the ambassador of Rwanda to the United States and Chief of Staff for President Paul Kagame. He has issued a statement on October 1st in Washington, D.C., saying that in his presence, he heard Paul Kagame say that he had ordered the shooting down of that plane, which led to the deaths of two African presidents and plunged Rwanda into war and mayhem and massacre. And I have to say, on this matter of courage, Doctor, you had a colleague, General Nyamwasa, who is now in exile in South Africa. Assassins attempted to kill him in South Africa. So you know who you're dealing with, don't you?
Yes, I thought I even smile and laugh about it, but it's no laughing matter. Mm-hmm. Because, as you know, I'm not the first one even to come out charging that Kagame is responsible for the deaths of President Habyarimana and President Nariamir of Burundi. Mm-hmm. Others have said it, but of course, probably the first senior-ranking member of RPF, former member of RPF and RPF to come out with this. And certainly I was at one point very close to Kagame. Mm-hmm. And I know for sure that he's a truly a very vindictive man, and he has created a reputation for being feared, and he has actually boasted that he doesn't care about being loved, and if people can fear him, that is enough. Mm-hmm. And he has always intimidated military officers, generals, and top civilians in the RPF that if you cross him, you die. So by coming out with the truth, I know it's a very serious mm-hmm. matter. But of course, I think I feel a great sense of relief that I've come out to tell the truth to the Rwandans. That's what I care most. Yes. And if anything happens to me, I won't be the last one or the first one. All these things, I think, call for a certain degree of selflessness, mm-hmm. And it's in that honesty that mm-hmm. I am doing it, so that hopefully we can encourage others to tell the truth and build on it as a foundation for true reconciliation and peace in our country.
I want to ask you, and again, I congratulate you on being so forthright in it, because certainly all over the world, people who care about this greatly in government and in legal community and all that are very needful of the kind of information and that you provided and your personal courage. But and I think we need to say that you, Dr. Rudasingwa, have taken a stand in defending the woman presidential candidate who only her crime was that she had returned to your country and attempted to actually organize a party. I don't think she'd put her name in to run, but she was trying to organize her party, and she has been under arrest, and she's in a pink prison costume with her head shaved when she appears in court. You've taken a stand on in defense of her, have you not?
I have, and for that, Kagame and his people have called me even a Hutu apologetic. They say I speak out for the Hutu. They say I'm a revisionist. They say I'm in bed with the FDR, even when I've never met any of them. They now, since Saturday, you can't imagine all the kind of insults that I get from Kagame's people. But today, I consider that to be a badge of honor. Okay. And the answer to your question is, if Victor Ingabire is not a freedom fighter, then who is? Mm-hmm. Why would simply wanting to go and participate in leading your country be a crime for which you have to be incarcerated in jail on trumped-up charges after now? So I make no apologies about that, and it's not only Victor Ingabire. There are others. There is Charles Natritinga, who has been in jail for over 10 years now. There is Deom Shaidi and many others who are simply in jail for no other crime than attempting to participate in the running of their country. And sometimes I wonder, citizens of other countries like Canadians or Americans or the British, and especially for the British and the Americans whose governments are especially close to President Kagame, whether the citizens understand that these types of things actually happen in a country like Rwanda, that there is a president who is responsible for having committed crimes, and it looks like in Rwanda it's when you've committed high crimes, when you've been exemplary in being very, very cruel to your own people, that you're raised to the top. Because otherwise, why should Ingabire be in jail and Kagame be the president of Rwanda? Because it should be otherwise. Kagame should be in jail and Victor Ingabire should be the president.
Yes. And incident, I guess on the last point, you make an excellent case for the old and legally put together Arusha Accord. I mean, the Arusha Agreement was a good one if a murderer hadn't stepped in the way, right?
Absolutely, because I make the point that Kagame was responsible, and historically, and that's how history should set the record right. And that's part of the problem, is that since 1994, and by the way, the viewers again should know that I was part of setting Kagame to the international community. I was the Secretary General, was part and parcel of setting that narrative that it's not RPF, but the Hutu extremists who killed President Habyarimana. And so when you look at the whole thing, it's that narrative that has to change because it's false, because it's based on deception and lies. And so, indeed, the Arusha Peace Agreement was really, really, even if you go back and read it, it was the best chance for Rwanda at that time. And so Kagame didn't want it to happen, and he created havoc, and we are reaping the benefits many years later.
So we should, if we could get Arusha minus the criminal, we would have peace.
Indeed, and by the way, it's not too late, because I believe there is going to be a time where Rwanda will not have a criminal as a president, and as part of that process of Rwandans coming together and sitting on the same table, admitting their own faults, their own weaknesses, where we've all gone wrong, Hutus and Tutsis. Each time, sometimes we are victims, and the victims of today become perpetrators of crime tomorrow. Perpetrators of crime today become victims tomorrow. I believe that there is a lot of lessons that we should learn from all this. But the problem is Kagame stands in the way of Rwandans coming together to confront their own past in order to learn from it and not to be hostages to it or slaves to it, but to learn enough lessons for us to look forward and to look forward to a future with hope. But we cannot reach that point because Kagame does not want it. Just as he derailed it in 1994, there is no way that he can be an actor in constructing something like that.
Well, that's a great statement. Dr. Rudasingwa, we are very grateful to talk to you today, and we are very touched by your becoming an important historical witness, and I think that things can only improve as a result of your coming forward. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye-bye. And that was Dr. Theogene Rudasingwa, and he is the former RPF Secretary General. He is the former ambassador of Rwanda to the United States, and he's Chief of Staff for President Paul Kagame. And he issued this statement in Washington, D.C., October the 1st, 2011. And you will know, if you've been listening to the Taylor Report over the years, we have been following this. We have talked to former UN investigators. We have talked to members of families who were in that plane. We have talked to Colonel Luc Marshall, who was the United Nations commander responsible for the airport and the city of Kigali at the time. And he, of course, had he had reasoned it out that President Kagame had been responsible for the initiation of the attack on the plane and of the war. And he, by the way, has taken a lot of grief for having the courage. That's the Belgian colonel who says number two to, well, I should say, I don't know if number two is the proper term. I think he was the associate of General Dallaire. We haven't heard from the general on this, but I would be very interested in his reaction to this statement. But we are going to continue to follow it. I think, as I say, listeners to the Taylor Report, listeners to CIUT will be aware of all the background of this story. This is just a new and dramatic chapter has been added. And I want to now continue with the program, and Phil Conlon is here. I want to just tell you again, we're going to be on the 17th. We're going to be beginning the fundraising at CIUT, but if you make a pledge prior